A genetic tree is a movie, moving beyond the still portrait of ancestry. Welcome to Fact Quest, Global Trivia, your buddy in uncovering truths, exploring science, and understanding the world. Stick around, and we'll uncover the science, theories, and mysteries behind your nightly adventures. Have you ever wondered where your ancestors truly came from? When you send in your DNA for an ancestry test, you get a snapshot of your family tree at a single point in time, right? But what if there was more to it than just that? What if you could see your family tree as a movie, constantly evolving and shifting across the globe over centuries? It sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi film, but it's real. And today, we're going to explore how researchers are changing the way we look at ancestry with a new method that takes your family tree from a snapshot to a full motion picture. The origins of this idea? So let's start with the basics. You've probably heard about genetic ancestry reports before. Maybe you've even done one yourself. These reports tell you what percentage of your genes come from places like Ireland, Africa, or Asia. But what most of us don't know is that these reports only show us a single frame of our genetic history. They tell us where our ancestors lived at a specific moment in time, but they don't account for the movement of our ancestors over the centuries. This is where the work of researchers like Gideon Bradburd, a professor at the University of Michigan, comes in. Along with his team, Bradburd has developed a new statistical method that can trace the movement of our ancestors across the globe over time. Instead of just showing where they lived, this method shows us how they moved, and it paints a much richer picture of our history. The science behind it? The technique they use is called the Gaia method, or Geographic Ancestry Inference Algorithm. It works by taking genetic samples from modern-day individuals, estimating where their ancestors came from, and then tracking their movements over time. Think of it as watching a movie of your genetic ancestors, with the story unfolding across centuries instead of just looking at a static family tree. Bradburd points out that the common ancestry reports we get are useful, but they don't tell the whole story. They might say you're 50% Irish because a large chunk of your genetic material comes from people who lived in Ireland in the past. But, as we know, geography and culture have changed over time. People move around. They migrate, they mix, they adapt. So, saying you're Irish based on genetic data alone is a bit misleading. It's like saying a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a moving film tells an even deeper story. Here's an interesting fact. As genetic researchers continue to study ancient DNA, they've discovered that we're all more connected than we think. If you trace your family tree back far enough, you'll find that almost everyone shares common ancestors. Sometimes from thousands of years ago. In fact, researchers have shown that our family trees grow exponentially, meaning, very quickly, we're all related to most people alive today in one way or another. Now you might be asking, why does this matter? Well, for one thing, it challenges how we think about race and ethnicity. When we talk about being Irish, African, or Asian, we're not accounting for how much these identities have changed over time. People moved, mixed, and adapted in ways that the current genetic testing systems don't capture. By using this method to trace the movements of our ancestors, we can get a more accurate, dynamic view of our genetic history. In fact, the Gaia method goes beyond just tracing human ancestry. It can also be used to track the movement of viruses, animals, and even diseases across time and space. Imagine being able to track how a disease spread from one region to another, or how different animal populations migrated and adapted. That's the power of this new tool. Now, let's wrap this up with a quick quiz. Think you've got the hang of our genetic journey? 1. What is the new method that allows us to trace the movement of our ancestors? 2. What's the main difference between traditional genetic ancestry reports and the new method developed by researchers at the University of Michigan? 3. How does understanding our ancestors' migration patterns help us rethink race and ethnicity? Comment your answers below, and let's see how many of you got it right. Thanks for tuning in to Fact Quest, Global Trivia, where we explore the science and mysteries that shape our world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on all things fact-filled. See you next time, and remember, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.